The fundamental question that is faced by sports is, do they want, will the industry ever allow somebody to tell the truth on the air? But I don't think that today that will ever happen again. I don't think the industry will allow it.
Dino Costa. This is Dino in the morning on Sirius XM Sports Zone, Sirius 92 XM 208.
Now you're getting used to that a little bit more here on day two. Yesterday, the inaugural maiden voyage of the show, and start on a Thursday. And I kind of feel for you because this is the final show of the week, and then a 2-day hiatus over the weekend, and back on, Lord willing, of course, Monday of next week. I got an email from a guy. I got so many emails after the show yesterday, after the first show, and one guy mentioned Preacher Ray, who's been a regular listener and sometimes caller on this show for as long as almost as long as I've been here, I think, with Sirius XM Radio. And Preacher Ray comes on the show yesterday and he says a prayer for me in the show. Very nice. Very welcomed by me, appropriate as far as I was concerned. The guy says to me, in the email, he says, Dino, thank goodness it was toward the end of the hour so that you had to cut off Preacher Ray. I got back to the guy, I said, not such a spiritual man, are you? I had no problem with Preacher Ray saying a prayer for the show. Hell, I said a prayer for the show before the show, if you must know. I pray all the time. I don't know about the rest of you, but man, there's nobody I know who needs more damn help than me. I can tell you that right now. Oh, man, am I fucked up. Whoa. Huh? What is that, Mr. Joshua? Oh, really? Well, that's an admission I never thought I'd get out of you. Am I rubbing off on you? Mr. Joshua says, Kaplan, no. He says, you take that back. He says, there's nobody that needs prayer more than me, Mr. Joshua says.
Yeah, you might be right about that.
Well, I don't know. 866 and 522-2846. This is Dino in the morning. And it's heard exclusively and specifically only here on Sirius XM Sports Zone. This is Sirius XM Sports Zone Radio, Sirius 92 and XM 208. Kaplan is telling me that we're still working out the bugs because I guess the people who are listening online, Kaplan, are listening on another channel too.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
Do you know what channel that is?
I think it's 790. It's still called
790.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all over, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you get us on 92, you get us on 208, you get us on 790.
You search around, you'll find it somewhere.
Yeah, I tell you, just go up and down the dial, you'll run into the show. Yeah. You'll run into the show. No question. Follow the show on Twitter. It's at Talk to Dino, TALK, the number 2, and then my name, Dino, at Talk to Dino. And if you're wondering, Kaplan says that, yes, we're going to have, once we get everything settled here and get more of the foundation laid, we're going to be, I guess you said we're going to be all over social media with a Twitter account for the channel.
Yeah, it's all coming.
And Facebook and
Absolutely.
all that good stuff. So that's all coming. Don't worry about it. We're just getting the ball rolling here. We're like that rolling stone, Kaplan, that's going down the hill, and every rotation of the stone, we're picking up more moss on the way.
That's right.
So it's a good thing, having a lot of fun here. And that play last night in the Broncos-Ravens game, where Jacoby Jones was hurt on that punt return, hit inadvertently and accidentally by his own teammate, I really think that changed a lot with that game. And I also think, as I said in the first hour, I also think that dropped pass at the end of the first half, which should have been a touchdown with Dallas Clark dropping that ball. Ravens are going into the locker room up 7, feeling even better about themselves. And you could see when they replayed Flacco's disbelief, he even uttered the word, you could see it as clear as day. He said, shit, come on, you got to catch that ball, you know. But Clark and Dixon didn't have a good night. The tight end situation for the Ravens is not good with Pitta being out. But I just think it's still a very good football team that's going to be heard from, and I think they'll go into the final few games of the 2013 season with a chance to win the division. I've picked Cincinnati to win the division, but I think the Ravens have got a lot of talent on that team, and even though they, at the end of the game, it was a blowout score, but I thought, you lose 49-27, you don't normally feel good about yourself, but if you're the Ravens, it's only one game. You do have still a lot of the guys that won the Super Bowl with that team last year, and I think they're going to be fine going forward. And, of course, we've got a full slate of NFL games coming up on Sunday. Monday of next week, you got is it the Giants and the Cowboys Monday night, or are the Giants and the Cowboys? No, it's the Eagles. Wait, who's on Monday night? Sunday night, I think, is the Giants and the Cowboys. Is on Sunday night.
Yeah, Monday night is Eagles, Redskins, and Texans.
Eagles, Redskins. So 2 Monday night games again to start.
Yeah.
I got to be honest with you. I don't, and I know the NFL's been doing this for a long time. They've got the one game to start the season all the time on Thursday nights. And usually, of course, it's the team that won the Super Bowl the previous year, and they open up in their home stadium. And so the Ravens weren't able to do that last night because the Orioles were a huge pain in the ass. By the way, I checked the box score this morning, Kaplan. 18,000 people went to the Orioles game at Camden Yards last night.
That's great.
I think there were more people that were partying down at the Inner Harbor listening to Keith Urban. And, I got to say this, too. I'm not saying this to point out anything other than the fact, okay, of the matter. I think she's a sweet girl, okay? I think she's I've given her a lot of compliments here, Kaplan, especially when she used to be with ESPN. Okay, what's her name? That she's now with NBC.
Michelle Beadle?
Yeah. It's time to start. Look, I'll say this as nicely as I can, okay? I'll say it as nicely as I can. It's time to start mixing in a few salads. Did you see Michelle Beadle last night?
Yeah.
Did you get a look at her?
Yeah, salad might be a good idea.
It's starting to get wider, And I fear that Michelle, look, you know what's happened with Michelle? I'll tell you exactly what's happened with Michelle Beadle, something that will never happen with me. And you know what that is, Kaplan?
No, what is it?
Complacency.
Yeah.
See, Michelle Beadle is making a pretty penny now. Okay, she's not only with NBC, but she's got her own show on that NBC Sports Network that nobody watches. But they're paying her a pretty penny. She's doing those tire commercials, which are kind of funny, by the way. You know what I'm talking about?
No, which
she's doing the tire commercials, where it's the she's the new football, the new soccer ball, the Bridgestone commercials. So she's making a lot of money right now. She's hit the top, and I think what's happened is she's getting a little lazy here. She's not in the gym as much as she used to be. She's eating now whatever she wants to eat, and it looks as though she's got, at night, I could imagine Michelle, based upon what I saw last night, that Haagen-Dazs, she takes it right out of the freezer, Kaplan. She doesn't even put it in a bowl. She just opens up the top. She takes the spoon. She cuddles up on the couch or the love seat or whatever, and she sits there and she just starts, spoon feeding herself with all that ice cream. So Michelle's got some work to do. I was shocked when I saw her last night, man. I mean, I was shocked when I saw Michelle last night. Tough to look at, man. She's a pretty girl, but I mean, come on now. Let me put it this way. Fox Sports 1 is on the air, and they've got, and all those babes at Fox, and my appearances, the times I've been in New York and I've been on Fox News, and Kaplan can attest to this more than capably. The Sirius XM building is located just across the street from the Fox News building. And when you go in the Fox News building, And we take the elevator upstairs, Kaplan. If I've been on Megyn Kelly's show or Imus or Hannity or whatever. I mean, I think that you have to be on a scale of 1 to 10 in order to get in the building and work for Fox News if you're a female. You cannot fall between, you got to be at least an 8.5
it's like a
on the scale.
Agency.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Okay, and so now they've got FS1 and, of course, Carissa Thompson, who's doing the, boy, is that terrible. Is that, I think, can we all agree, by the way? And I'm going to be talking sports media coming up later in the show with Richard Sandomir, who covers sports media for the New York Times and that terrific 3-part series that they did last week on ESPN. But can we be fair and say that the new FS1 Sports Center-like show, what's it called? Fox Sports Daily? Is that what it's called?
Fox Sports Live.
Fox Sports Live with the two Canadian guys, who I went into the whole thing, as you know, Kaplan, looking to hate the both of them.
Yeah.
But I can't. There's really nothing to hate there. But does it not drive that show to a grinding halt when they throw it to the panel led by Carissa Thompson?
Yes, terrible.
I mean, it drives it to a halt. It's a screeching halt. It's over. You're like, my God. And what they've tried to do here is never mind that the panel, does anybody give a rat's ass what Gary Payton thinks about this college football season? Does anybody care what Gabe Kapler thinks about the Broncos and the Ravens game last night? No, you can't take him seriously. So what they've tried to do, it's clear as day, because Carissa Thompson used to be part of that show that Fox used to air, Kaplan, the Best Damn Sports Show.
Yeah.
And so what they've done now is they've tried to wedge the Best Damn Sports Show into this Fox Sports 1 show.
Not working.
It doesn't work at all. It's an ill-suited fit. It's just it's horrible. But my point is this: is whether or not it's horrible or not. The fact of the matter is that Carissa Thompson is not exactly someone that you turn your head away from the television when you look at her. Right? I mean, she's a good-looking girl.
Yeah, very good.
Sexy, blonde hair. Everybody that works at Fox News. Listen, if you're a woman and you go and you work for Fox, whether you're working with Fox Sports or you're working with Fox News, you dye your hair. I think that's mandatory, Kaplan. You got to be a blonde.
Yeah.
You got to be. So that's right. So the thing is this, is that I don't, getting back to Michelle Beadle and what I saw last night, I don't think that Michelle would be one of those women that Fox Sports would be looking to bring on because she just doesn't fit the profile these days. And I like Michelle. I mean, I like Michelle. But she's getting a little chunky there. I don't know who her agent is, but her agent needs to give her a pep talk and tell her, let's mix in a few salads here. Let's eat healthy. Let's get to the gym a little bit more. Anyway. Yeah, I'm done, yeah. I'm not going to talk about Michelle anymore. I'm done with that. But I'm looking. Mr. Joshua just said something, Kaplan, that I'm not going to repeat. I can't repeat it. I'm looking forward to this college football second weekend coming up. Myself, I'm going to be in Laramie, Wyoming tomorrow, watching the Pokes coming off of their impressive showing in Lincoln against the Cornhuskers last week. And I think that Wyoming's going to put up 60 on Idaho coming in tomorrow. But a couple big games coming up this weekend. I think that Florida, by the way, has got a very good chance of losing to Miami this weekend. You look at what they did last week, Florida, that is, the Gators. And, look, Florida to me is offensively, they're still very challenged. I'm still not buying into Jeff Driscoll as their quarterback. Listen, if Georgia's quarterback, Aaron Murray, was playing in Gainesville, I'd be feeling a hell of a lot better about Florida than I do right now. I think that Miami can win this game. I have no idea. If you're new to this show, by the way, I don't do picks. I don't anyway. I don't do under-overs. I don't do, I don't even look. I don't know what the point spreads are. I've never been a betting guy in my life. I don't watch sports because of the thrill I get, with the line and stuff like that. So if you're looking, you ever wonder, hey, Dino, what does Dino feel about Florida, Miami, and the point spread this week? I don't even know what it is. So I'm not into sports for that, but I am into sports for the sheer unscripted theater of what sports provides. And I would not be surprised if Miami wins this game against Florida. And people said, well, they only scored 24 against Toledo last week in winning, and Toledo, but here's the thing. Most people are unaware of the Mid-American Conference. Most people are unaware of Toledo. Now, I got to see Toledo last year, about 45 miles from where I'm sitting, because they played Wyoming last year. Toledo is a very good football program, especially under this coach, Matt Campbell. I think I mentioned him last year, by the way, that he's going to be one of those coaches that you're going to hear about, coming out of the Mid-American Conference. Someday, Matt Campbell, Toledo's head coach, is going to be in charge of a big-time football factory somewhere. But this is a very well-coached team, and a lot of people don't follow, the college football landscape like I do. They're unaware of the fact that Toledo welcomes back five all-conference players on offense from a year ago. They've got some good players on that team. And, Florida only scored 24, so you say, well, they only played Toledo. But when you say that, I don't think that people take into account that Toledo is not a horrendous football team. In fact, they're pretty good. Now, they're not Florida good. They're not SEC good by any stretch, but you know what I mean. But I think that Miami can win this game this year. I think they can. And I won't be shocked if they end up winning. And unfortunately, this is for the last time in a long time, despite what Brian Kelly says, Notre Dame and Michigan is one of the great football matchups and rivalries in the history of the sport, and it's going to be interesting and even a little depressing to know that these two teams are not going to play for some time, at least the next several years ahead. I'm looking for this game is this is in prime time, I think, Kaplan, Michigan and Notre Dame coming up this weekend, and Notre Dame, of course, winning last week against Temple, and Tommy Rees is at quarterback right now. And this is a big-time coaching job that Brian Kelly's got on his hands this year, because if you look at the Irish, off of that incredible year that they had last year, I mean, they've lost their starting quarterback. Of course, we all know that. They've lost their top two running backs from a year ago. Okay? They've lost, not only that, 4 of their top 6 receivers they lost going into the season. And, by the way, they lost Tyler Eifert, who these days is blocking and catching passes for the Cincinnati Bengals. So this is a challenging season for Notre Dame going forward. I'm kind of, no, I'm not kind of, I'm very upset that these two teams, it looks as though they're not going to play each other for a long time after this game tomorrow with the Big House, and they should. They should be playing each other every single season. So I'm looking forward to that game. What other games are in my crosshairs this weekend? What? No, because I don't think that's going to be much of it. Mr. Joshua says, what about Oregon, Virginia? No. Give me another game. I'll tell you if I... Yes, because I want to see if Western Kentucky can do it, can slay 2 SEC teams in consecutive... Bobby Petrino, for all of, the whole thing with him getting fired from Arkansas, the embarrassing thing with the extramarital affair and all that, this guy is a phenomenal football coach. He's a phenomenal football coach. And they beat Kentucky last week, and they go into Knoxville this weekend. So you say, am I interested in Western Kentucky, Tennessee? Indeed, I am. And West Virginia, Oklahoma, yes. And I'll tell you another game that I'm interested in this weekend. Washington State in Los Angeles taking on USC. Interested in that game as well. And I'm going to get to the first slate of games in the NFL this weekend as well. I'll get to that. 866-522-2846. Kaplan is producing with you till 11 o'clock on the East Coast, and that's 8 a.m. out on the West Coast. This is Dino in the Morning, Sirius XM Sports Zone Radio, Sirius 92, XM 208. Let me go to the phones for the first time on this Friday show. Welcome in Tony. He's in Middletown, New York. Dino in the Morning, hour number 2. Here's Tony.
Hey,
hello, Tony.
Dino. How's
Yes,
it
Tony.
going, buddy?
Very well.
Good. Listen, I want to talk a little bit about the game last night. I stayed up and I watched the whole game. But before I do that, let me just throw a couple of thoughts at you real quick.
Sure.
In the realm of good things coming threes, Dino, you couldn't have picked a better time. I listened to your whole show yesterday morning. I tried to get through, but every time I would get through, something happened with the cab, and I had to go pick up a customer and this and that. But I did listen to the whole show, and as predicted, your first 4 hours of my day went by very quick, very smoothly. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure listening to you yesterday morning.
Well, the
first
pleasure,
time on the news station.
the pleasure was all yours, I'm sure, in listening to the show, Tony. But I was delighted to bring it to you, and I'm as fired up as you can believe doing the morning show now, and we got a long way to go to really kind of tie all the elements and merge many of the elements that are not a part of the show yet. Don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me, though. But don't interrupt me because I'm not going to interrupt you. Don't interrupt me. By the way, how's the cab thing working out with you?
It's working out very well. It's working out very well. I do have the day off. I'm sitting here on my couch today in my living room listening to your show. As let me call in. I have nothing to disturb me, nothing to deter me from calling in. I could sit, I could wait, even if I had to wait 4 hours. God knows I've done that before. Huh?
Are you as upset as I am that Notre Dame and Michigan are not going to be playing for the foreseeable future after the game tomorrow in Ann Arbor?
They don't play the entire season.
They play tomorrow, and then that's going to be the end of the.
Yeah, but after that, that's it.
No, yeah, that's it for a long time. Yeah. At least until 2020. Yeah.
Wow.
What do you think about that?
That is a long time.
That is a long time.
That's a very big rivalry. That's wow.
Well, listen. This is the 41st time that these two schools are meeting. Okay, and you're talking about how many national championships between these two schools? It's got to be, I would think, 22, 23 national championships between these two schools. You combine the amount of wins that these two teams have had all time. Two of the greatest fight songs in college football history. The winning percentages collective. Here you go again. You interrupted me. What did I tell you about interrupting me?
I'm sorry.
Don't do it again.
I won't.
Now, what was I saying, Tony? I forgot what I was saying. Oh, the winning percentages between these two teams collectively have been, it's got to be just sky high. So I'm very upset that these two teams are not going to play anymore after tomorrow. Tony, you may talk now.
Okay, Dino. Yes, that is disturbing. Listen, before I get to the Broncos game, I just wanted to say, in the realm of good things come in threes, Dino, and the timing of your placement on the new station, that would be number one because of your hours and your whole new takeoff with the new station. That would be the number one good thing. Number two is the start of the 2013 NFL football season. I was rooting hard for the Broncos last night. I know that it was a big win for you as a Bronco fan. And like you said, you don't put too much emphasis on the first game. And number three, Dino, this Sunday, the season premiere of Boardwalk Empire. How about that for three good things in a row? How about that, Dino?
What's that noise?
Oh, there's my dog playing with a squeaky toy over here.
Oh, I see. Okay, I just wanted to know.
No, down.
I am Kaplan. The next time it happens, I'll shut it down completely. I'm looking forward to Boardwalk Empire big time. I mean, obviously, I'm a big fan of the show. I don't know. My expectations for the show are so damn high that I don't want to be disappointed. And I don't like the fact that the Irish kid was killed and sent home in a box last year. You remember that? Yes.
Absolutely remember that.
So I don't know. And who knows what the widow Schroeder is going to do this year to upset Nucky and,
Well, I'm very interested to see which direction the show takes this year, because it's you can see Al Capone becomes a very, very big part of
not only Al, but his brother as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Tony, what would you like to
see?
I just want to know.
One word about the game last night.
Hold your question here, because I had a question for you.
Go ahead.
What would you like to see happen on this year's Boardwalk Empire?
Wow, what would I like to see happen? Well, I know that the part of Nucky Thompson takes a big turn. He's not the big tycoon that he used to be.
How do you know this?
The realm of, he's kind of whittling down to.
How do you know this?
Well, I was watching the coming attractions on HBO the other day, Nucky
Yeah.
Thompson is kind of not the big guy that he used to be on campus, as far as people fearing him and stuff. The new big guy is what's his name there from he's going to be taking over Chicago is Al Capone.
Al Capone, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I doubt
Yeah.
that the emphasis. Listen. Just like The Sopranos, where everything revolved and was spun off of Tony. They're not going to take the Nucky Thompson character and make him secondary.
I know he's
still-
not going to be secondary, but if you notice how he was in the first two seasons, I don't think
Yeah.
we're going to see that anymore. JR, get that away from him.
Tell your dog to cut the shit, okay? You're on a national radio show here, and your dog is fucking things up.
She just
Now, what did you
took the
want
toy away.
to, Anthony? What did you want to say about the game yesterday or
About
last
the
night?
game last night, did you realize that the last time somebody threw for 7 touchdowns in the game was my boy Joe Cap?
1969.
Minnesota Viking, 1969. That's
Right.
incredible. That's
Right.
a lot of years ago.
43, I think,
couldn't-
to be
I
exact.
couldn't believe that stat.
Why
How
not?
about that? What do you think about that?
Well, why couldn't you believe it?
Well, think about how many years ago that was.
It's very tough, Tony, to throw for 3 touchdown passes in a game, right? No, so
Sure.
So
but
7
you
is.
think
Now, I've
about
been
all the
watching the
years in
NFL.
between. Wow, that's
Well, yeah,
unbelievable. It was a great game. I thought the momentum was going the Ravens' way for the first half, and I was very undecisive of who was going to win that game, and then all of a sudden it just took off and was very, very leaning one way to the Broncos. And Dino, I'm very happy for you. I'll be rooting hard for the Broncos this year, except for when they're playing my Vikings. And I'll be listening.
When are
to
the
rest of
Vikings,
show.
by the way? When are the Vikings? When are your Vikings going to finally win a Super Bowl?
Oh, that's a good question, Dino. You know what? I was going to ask you, what do you think about the Vikings picking up this year where they left off last year? Or do you think last year was just a fluke? Now, I haven't looked at the schedule this year. I don't know how tough in terms of what they did last year, how tough or easy the schedule this is. But
I'm very
for this
disappointed
year-
in you. I am exceptionally disappointed in you. I mean, you just got done telling me you haven't looked at the Vikings season. You haven't really gone over the roster. You're supposed to be a big Vikings fan here. What's going on with you?
I don't know. There's just so many things that have kept me occupied so far this year, with my mom being in the hospital and everything else. And I
Tony.
just haven't had time to do anything like that, I don't even watch a Met game anymore. Can you believe it, Mets doesn't mean anything to me. I don't sit down in front of the television. I don't look at the score. I don't see where they are. I don't see what happened in the game. It doesn't mean all that much to me anymore. Maybe when I get over everything with my mom and everything gets settled in, I'll get back to the Tony from Middletown that you used to know and love. How's that, buddy?
Well, I still know you, and I still love you. I'm unaware of what's going on with your mom. Tell me.
Well, she got out of the hospital about a week ago. As a matter of fact, I'm on my way up to Ellenville, New York, to see her today, and they found cancer in her, and she's using a walker, and she's she's very weak, and she always looking for company, so she asks me on my day off to come and see her. So that's where I'll be heading up today. That's where I'll be going today, up to Ellenville to see my mom.
And she's all alone?
Yeah, she has what do you call it? An aide that comes to the house and takes care of her for 6 hours. But other than that, yeah, she's all alone.
Well, how old is she, Tony?
Mom is 80,
80
Mom is
years
80 years.
old. Wow.
Yes.
Well,
So,
well, Tony, listen, I do want to say I pray for you and your mom, and I'm sorry you're going through this tough time, and that's a horrible thing. But always be good to your mom. I don't think I need to tell you you only have one mom, and
No. I heard Mama Costa on the show yesterday. It was that kind of brought another dimension to the show. I loved it. I love Mama Costa. I've talked to her many times on your show, And, yeah, you only got one. You're absolutely right.
Tony, all the best to you, my friend, and give your mom a big hug for me, okay?
Absolutely, I will.
All
I'll
right,
be
buddy, I
listening
love
the
you.
rest of the way, You know that.
All right, Anthony, I love you. Take care, my friend.
Take care, buddy. Bye-bye.
All right, that's Tony in Middletown, and he's going through some stuff there that obviously it's not good. So say a prayer for Tony and for Tony's mom. 866-522-2846. Quickly concerning the Vikings, I'm not sold on Ponder. I'm just not sold on Ponder as being the quarterback that is going to be able to, take them to where they need to go. And of course, they've signed Greg Jennings in the offseason, and Ponder has looked good at times, but he's still learning, and so I haven't reached a definitive conclusion on him, but I'm just not sure that he's the kind of a quarterback that can, bring you to an AFC championship game. Everything with that team revolves around Adrian Peterson and on defense with Jared Allen and Kevin Williams and guys like that. So we'll see with the Vikings. They had a good season last year. Remember they started Joe Webb in that playoff game and lost to the Packers. But it's a tough division and going into a new stadium soon. I like Leslie Frazier as the head coach. I like him, but Tony kind of threw me there with the news about his mom. That's bad stuff. Bad stuff. Denver, Colorado, USA. Frank is on Dino in the Morning, hour 2 on this Friday. Hi, Frank.
Tony, first, Dino, I'd like to say I'd like to let Tony know that I'm going to keep his mom in my prayers and let him know that the whole Dino family, I'm sure, is saying prayers for his mom. That's really good that you bring that aspect to your show, Dino. I really appreciate that. The reason why I'm calling is, the hypocrisy of ESPN and these other sports outlets that just jump on Manziel and jump on TiVo because they smell blood in the water and they know that they're going to get ratings. And like you hit the nail on the head, Dino. They come out with these scripts and it's ridiculous. I mean, you can't even listen to it anymore.
Yeah, no, it's the talking heads are all given the same scripts. They all see what each other are saying. They all want to go in lockstep with one another. They all think that they're doing God's work by trying to bring down Manziel. They're hypocritical in their commentary. They're out of touch. They're tone deaf. And Johnny Manziel is one of the greatest things to happen to college football in the last little while here. He's the most polarizing figure that college football has seen since Tim Tebow was playing in Gainesville with Florida. I love him. I love the fact that he doesn't give a rat's ass what anybody else thinks about him. He's going to walk to his own beat. And he's won a lot of games, and he's made a lot of money for Texas A&M, and he's received nothing. Well, I shouldn't say that. I was going to say he's received no money, with what he's done as the result of what he's done. I clearly think he was paid for those autographs, and the fact of the matter is I don't care about it.
Absolutely, and where you're consistent, and this is why I love you, is that, you'll look at Tebow, and Tebow walks to his own drum. He doesn't care what anybody thinks. Manziel walks to his own beat and doesn't care what anybody thinks. And you're consistent. Those two are on opposite ends of the spectrum, but yeah, you see them in the same way, and I think that's admirable, without a doubt. My personal take on Manziel is that I respect the fact that he's his own man. Personally, I think that some of the things that I see with him, he's going to pay the consequences for later on down the road. But, I mean, that's his choice, and that's just my perception on it. I'd like to shift to the NFL and get your take on last night's game. I'm a longtime fan, and I know you've said this before on your show, but I see the game changing and not for the better. I see them kind of going in the NBA model where they're going for the stars. They're protecting the stars. They want it to be high scoring. They want it to be that market thing. And they don't protect the linemen or the defensive players. And I kind of wanted your take on that, and I'll take the rest off the air. Dino, love the show. Congratulations on going to the morning.
Thank you, Frank, in Denver, Colorado. Well, I mean, it's clear. I mean, I've made myself very clear about this for the 5 years I've been doing national radio, and even before that. The NFL is moving in all the wrong ways as far as I'm concerned. The game lacks balance. The game lacks an integrity that used to be a part of it. The game has become well too offensive for my tastes. The disfiguring of playing defensive football is something that enrages me on an everyday basis. I've seen the trickle-down effect now to the college game. As far as the game last night is concerned, if you're a Broncos fan, obviously you're very happy. They turned a very close game and a deficit at halftime into a rout in the second half. I think it was a perfect storm situation in that second half where they hit on a few big plays. Don't forget the Welker pass that was a drop. The ball hit the ground. Why Harbaugh didn't throw the challenge flag there, I have no idea. Broncos went on to score, and the game turned from there. They got the blocked punt. So Ravens had to deal with some injuries last night. But then, again, so did the Broncos. I mean, they were without their best defensive player, Von Miller. In a nutshell, if you're a Broncos fan like myself, you're delighted with the way you get off on this 2013 NFL season. And if you're the Ravens, of course, you come off a Super Bowl championship last year. And while the loss stings last night, you realize that there are 15 games left, plenty of time to get things turned around. And I think that the Ravens are a resourceful, resilient organization, a very high-character organization, and I think that they're going to be in this all the way to the end. And they're one of three teams in the AFC that I said yesterday that I could see getting into a situation where they go back to another Super Bowl. The other two are the Broncos and the Cincinnati Bengals. But it's one of 16 games, and you get an opportunity now if you're the Ravens to watch the film, to make some adjustments, turn the page, and get ready for your next game in week number 2. Dan is in New Mexico, USA. He is on Dino in the Morning on this Friday, hour 2. Hi, Dan.
Good morning, Dino.
Good morning, Dan.
Hey, two things. First, I understand, Tony, I feel for him. My father-in-law is 80, and the poor guy started to break down. He's in chronic pain, and he fell, and he's a walker also. And it's my wife's, she's 1 of 7, and she's helping take care of him, and it's it's always on your mind, and it's always something.
Man, you know what, man, it sucks getting old. Bottom line, it sucks getting old. You know.
It does. And second is that my wife always busts my balls when I'm watching the 5 on Fox News, and I always get the disappointed look on my face when Kimberly Guilfoyle's not on. And she's always like, "Oh, your girlfriend's not on, huh?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, it's okay. You are so right. The women on Fox News, and something that the other station, the cable networks, have not picked up on. I mean, the parade of women that are on Fox News is just stunning. I mean, the women, oh my God, and they're smart and they're beautiful, and I'm surprised that why can't this station? I was always trying to tell them, why don't we call Kimberly Guilfoyle, get her on the radio? You got to be better than why does every legal thing why does Roger Cossack have to always comment on sports legal matters? Why don't you get somebody that actually prosecuted cases or knows about the law herself and has a personality and something might say something interesting once in a while and get her on there. And lastly, Dino, what was the vibe at the stadium last night?
I did not go to the game. I got home.
I thought you said you were going.
I was going to go, but then I made the determination early in the afternoon. I went home and I worked out, got home, took a nap, and then decided about 2 o'clock. I said, if I go to the game with the new schedule and everything and the new show, by the time I get home, it's going to be 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to get maybe 2 hours sleep, and it's just not good for the show. So in the better interests of this show and my audience, I decided not to go to the game, and I watched the game on the big screen last night in the comfort of my own home.
Okay, I was just always curious with the delay and everything else, the vibe would be there because Denver always seems to be in the new stadium compared to the older stadium, it seems a little more subdued. Because Mile High, the old Mile High was a rockin'. It's kind of like RFK. It was a real rockin', loud stadium, and at the new stadium it seems a little more subdued. I was wondering to get a firsthand.
Well, I did read some comments in the Denver Post this morning, and Wes Welker, who of course played all those years in Foxborough with the Patriots, said that as far as the crowd at the game last night, he's never seen or heard anything like that.
Okay, I was just curious about that. Get the vibe there because it's Seattle has set the benchmark now for crowd noise and everything, and and I've always it's being a Giants fan too. The Meadowlands always it seems more subdued too. Maybe it's because you got to pay. I don't know what it is. I mean, it just seems like the crowd is not into it as much. In these newer stadiums.
Well, and when something I mentioned yesterday, Dan, when they continue the NFL, that is, when they continue to try to shift the culture at the games to being more like your living room. I think that you mentioned the word subdue. I think that it's going to be a much more subdued atmosphere and environment at all of these NFL stadiums over the next several years ahead, and that's a bad thing. That's another bad thing with the NFL. I can't speak about anything. I can't speak about anything good concerning the NFL.
Other than it's back, and it's with the world going into the toilet the way it is, it's kind of I need it. I mean, you and me. I listen to this. I listen to the news after you, and for most of the day, and you need that diversion of what's going on out there. I mean, it's really, it's hitting the fan, and with everything else that's going on, we need a diversion, definitely.
Listen,
so,
Danny, thank you, Dan. I need it too. I mean, I'm not chagrined in any way, shape, or form that the NFL is back. I mean, I'm delighted that the NFL is back, but knowing where the game is going, how the game is being reoriented, it's depressing. And again, one of the most positive aspect of that game last night, other than the Broncos coming out on the winning end, for me, the most positive aspect, as I said in the first hour, was that there was not one flag thrown last night for an unsportsmanlike hit, for this alleged defenseless player. None of that. And that, to me, was the best thing outside of the Broncos winning that game. And I might make mention, because I did say this in the first hour, I meant to touch on this, concerning defensive back play in the National Football League. Now, it's difficult enough for defensive backs, cornerbacks, safeties, to play the position effectively enough right now. In fact, it's almost as though defensive players in the NFL, with regard to those positions specifically, you could argue that these guys are trying to play the game with one arm tied behind their back. Okay, with the way that the rules are so geared to an offensive orientation in the National Football League, this, as I like to say all the time, the Arena League-like game played on an outdoor 100-yard field, I mean, it's depressing enough. But for defensive backs, corners, and safeties, playing the game is now, with the rules the way they are, with the emphasis on offensive football, it's like playing with one arm tied behind your back. But that doesn't subtract from something that I've seen, a very disturbing trend in the National Football League over the last couple of seasons, and you see it in every single game, including last night's. I have never seen defensive backs in the NFL playing the position on such a shallow scale. I mean, on such a shallow scale. Have you noticed how many times, I mean, you see this with regularity, passes, now the receiver will take off from the line of scrimmage. The defensive back will try to stay with him step for step, stride for stride. The receiver now the ball's in the air, and the receiver is looking at the football. Because I think that in order for the receiver to catch the ball, he's got to look at it, okay? How many defensive backs do you constantly see who have either no idea that the ball is in the air to begin with or where the ball's being thrown? The awareness of defensive backs right now is at a level that is so far down. I've never seen it as shallow as it is right now. Defensive backs, A, don't know the ball's in the air. B, never look for the ball. How many times do you see a receiver catch a ball in the NFL these days? I'm talking about a post pattern. I'm talking about something across the middle. I'm talking about, any kind of a route that's run, where the defensive back has, the corner specifically, more than the safety, but the safety sometimes as well, they have no idea where the football is. The receiver does. The receiver's running. His head is looking up. He knows that the ball is coming. And how many times have you seen, I saw it a dozen times at least last night, where if the defensive back had an idea that the ball was heading in his general direction, if he turned his head, if he had, aware skills that allowed him to know where the ball was, that at the very least he could have knocked the ball away, and at best he could have been in position to intercept the football. But we see defensive backs continuously in this day and age running stride for stride with the receiver, having no idea where the ball is. The receiver does, and the receiver makes the catch where you say to yourself after the play, Mike, or you can watch during the play, and you say if the defensive back had turned around, if he knew where the ball was, he could have put his hand up. He could have put his arm up. He could have intercepted the football. He could have been in the way. But no, they make it more easier now than ever for a receiver to catch the football I don't understand the way that the defensive backs are being coached these days. What are you trying to read the receiver's mind? Trying to read the receiver's eyes? Make a play on the football. Look for the ball. Have ball in the air skills, for crying out loud. Playing defensive football is tough enough. Playing defensive football as a cornerback or a safety and not having any idea where the ball is? I mean, you don't give yourself a chance. You don't give yourself a shot. Horrible defensive back play in football these days. I'm back with more Hour 2. Dino in the morning, Sirius XM Sports Zone Radio. This is Sirius 92 and XM 208.